Welcome to Laurel Smith of Chicago, Illinois, nonprofit home video and artworks creations. In this particular video, we will be looking at the European Bible lies in the 16th century through the King James of England when he appointed 72 Greek and Hebrew scholars to travel to the ARCHAEOLOGICAL Northeast African continent 11 and 12 geographic land surface lines. As you well know that Ezra 1:3 says, let us go up to Jerusalem, which is located in the land of Judah. So Judah, or the African face upon the lion's body, in which we now see in front of the North African GIZA pyramids, that when we review the 11 lines from our space, we see the Isaiah 1919 GIZA pyramids. So that would be Ezra 1:3 Judah, Northeast African continent land surface, where the 12th line lies within Jerusalem. So if we view the 11 lines from outer space, we're looking at the Northeast African continent with satellite imagery. We will see a huge yellow desert triangular land surface area that has a huge group of mountains forming a U shape. So we have actually discovered, Genesis 49 chapter and 8 verse, black African couching Ethiopian land SPHINX of ancient Judea and Jerusalem. So if we look at this globe earth stele pyramid E Mercator projection in the Dome of the Rock outer wall area in which supports the Golden Dome, it's pointing to the book of Psalms 105th chapter 23rd verse, original 12th African continent tribes. Now remember, in the before the flood of Noah, what we call Arabia today, it was a part of the Northeast African continent land surface area. So as it writes the mistranslated King James Bible, European Bible lies, whereas the original 12 African continent tribes in Babylon, now remember, if you connect Arabia back to Northeast Africa, now we have the 11th and 12th line all in Africa. So this is where we rediscovered that the SPHINX 11 appears in the Dome of the Rock outer wall area in which supports the Golden Dome. This is the lower section of the stele pyramid E. So as we look at the first temple of Jerusalem, we're not looking at any European false man-based Lord God where religion characters or architectural structures in Jerusalem. In fact, we're looking at the book of Genesis, black African Ham. It's the Hamitic stele pyramid E civilization in Babylon, and where we now see the stele pyramid E being generated from the Dome of the Rock, existing building structures. So when we ever view the Dome of the Rock from outer space, or with satellite imagery, the entire Temple Mount, we can then extend the base and wall lines of its existing building structures. And now when we look at this, we see the stele pyramid of DOJSER being generated from the aerial view Temple Mount. Now you can see it from a helicopter, the rectangular building structure that has a golden dome and the octagonal building structure. Now there are several smaller building structures like rectangles and octagons. So if we extend the extended wall and base lines so that they intersect with one another, the resulting image is the stele pyramid of DOJSER, which completes the book of Psalms 105th chapter 23rd verse when it says that it corrects it, because now we see that if the 12 African continent tribes in which entered into ancient Egypt after the flood of Noah, it wasn't the 12 sons of Jacob, which was illegally renamed in the 16th century by the King James of England appointed 72 Greek and Hebrew scholars. So now we can give back the credit to the original African continent black lion SPHINX, the black man face in which we now see upon the body of a lion. So now as we look at this elongated headed 4 feet tall, big black oval shaped eyes, 3 fingers and 1 thumb on each hand, Old Testament glowing wood in the world like your 4 aliens. This would be the aliens in Ezekiel's Old Testament glowing wood in the world like your foes. Now the first African of Genesis 1:26 do not appear on the surface of planet Earth. All we see today is Genesis 2:7, normal shaped headed African Adamic race. This would be the original 12 African continent tribe from south to north. So as we look at the population of Jerusalem and Judea in the before the flood of Noah, by the original black African Hamitic stele pyramid E civilization of Ham, we would have to erase the European Bible lies out of the Afro-American mind and replace it with the original Dome of the Rock outer wall area which supports the Golden Dome. That's where we see 5 blocks stacked on top on one another on the left and right side that they form a step that you walk upon. Now, this is called the Step Pyramid E Globe Earth Mercator projection. Now, if we look at this African continent appearing in the lower section of the Step Pyramid E area. Now, we look at this Ethiopian stone cross-shaped building structure in Lalibela. It also has a Step Pyramid E surrounding its base. So as we come full circle to reconnecting the black Africans, Step Pyramid E civilization of Ham, to the architectural origin of the Dome of the Rock building structure itself, we go back to the first Jerusalem temple. Now you look at this structure, it's a red and black structure, whereas you see 1, 2, 3 squares representing the 1, 2, 3 Giza pyramids. Now if the Sphinx has a 66 feet height in front of the Giza pyramid, then he's in front of 1, 2, 3 triangles. So if we go back to the Dome of the Rock outer wall in which supports the Golden Dome, we will see a Step Pyramid E, and the first 1, 2, 3 corners of the steps, if we turn it sideways, now we have the Sphinx in front of the Step Pyramid E 1, 2, 3 first corners or steps. But the Sphinx 66 feet height in front of the 1, 2, 3 triangles place him in the center of the Dome of the Rock outer wall in which supports the Golden Dome Step Pyramid E image. Not only do we see the Sphinx pointing the entire human race towards the Isaiah 19:19 or 1, 2, 3 ice-covered Antarctic circle pyramids, but now we see that the Sphinx is pointing the entire human race to a 66.33 degrees North Pole and South Pole Antarctic circle latitude. When we view it from outer space, we see this black, elongated headed, Old Testament glowing woolly and like UFO alien. Now remember, all I'm doing is looking at the aerial viewed Arctic circle from outer space, and I turn the entire Antarctic circle ice sheet into a negative. This will give us a black, elongated headed Old Testament glowing woolly and like UFO alien, which I call the 506 KK3. So if we look at the first Jerusalem temple, we have rediscovered the black African book of the black African Hamitic Step Pyramid E civilization of Ham that started ancient Babylon in the book of Genesis, Akkad, so now we have reconnected black man to the African lion sphinx of Judea and Jerusalem and the origin of the first Jerusalem Step Pyramid E temple design.